Part 3 of the aisle. Going down the path. All other parts down below. While today was a real adventure. Kids' first day of school today. I have always tried to make it a big deal. So, I got up early and got dressed. Woke the kids up at 7 a.m. Wife was home last night and I slept in the basement to avoid conflict. This morning I got dressed early to make breakfast. I love making the kids breakfast and try to make it special for the first day of school. So, made French toast, fresh fruit and things like that. They came down and started eating. Here comes the ex in her usually mood. She started in right away about me moving out. I told her for the final time that I'm not moving until things are finalized and asked her to please stop. The kids are going to school for the first day and don't need to be stressed out by her bantering. She wouldn't let up. She then started to tell the kids that she refuses to live in the same house with me. If I would leave, then she could live there. Not wanted the kids to believe her lies. I told them that mom can live here and she is welcome. It's not my fault that she chooses not to. She had some other vile comments. I simply explained to them the reason mommy doesn't live there is not me. It's because she chooses to live with her boyfriend John. I told them that she is choosing John and his family over them, but not to worry, that I would always be there for them no matter what she does. She then threw out the kids' French toast and gave them pancakes that she made. Okay, so they were all freaked out, but I tried to spend a little time with them in spite of what the ex was saying. She got so angry that I wasn't feeding into her BS that she came over to the table and started squeezing maple syrup on me. I really couldn't believe it. I took it out of her hands and then squeezed some on her. She then came back at me and there was syrup all over the kitchen. I backed way off as the kids were scared. I told them to go upstairs and get dressed for school. She then threw a plate of pancakes at me. Man, I think she is really on the verge of a nervous breakdown. She had to go upstairs to shower again and change clothes. I had to do the same. When I came back, the kids were dressed and combing their hair. She was in the kitchen cleaning up her mess. I told her that she really is very sick and she needs help. I offered to pay for a therapist for her if she was willing to go. She just insulted me and asked me to move out again. I know why she is so desperate for me to move. Kids are in school now and it will be really hard for her to spend time with John now with the kids' schedule. She wants me gone to have him over. I told her it's not going to happen. She then called John in front of me, told her a very jaded view of what had happened. I asked to speak to him. He agreed and she gave me her phone. I told him the situation, what she was doing to the kids. I also told her what the two of them do together is their business, but I have 2 stipulations. 1. I don't want him in my house at all until things are finalized. 2. I don't want a kid to spend the night at his house ever. He didn't respond as the ex ripped the phone away from me. I think she thought I was going to threaten him of something, but I didn't. I was very level-headed about it all. Then they hung up and I told the kids I would drive them to the bus stop. It was raining out. Ex jumped in and said no, she would do it. So, to avoid further drama, I kissed them goodbye and told them to have a good first day, and that I would be home when they get off the bus. Then I came to work. Wow, what a morning. I won't let her get me to the point of snapping, but she is almost there. She is so mentally sick right now, but she just doesn't see it. I would love to get her some help, but she won't allow it. Her only goal at this point is to get me out of the house. She for the last month has gone to extremes to get me to move. She is now running out of ideas on how to do that because I haven't responded the way she wanted me to. She knows that while the kids are in school, it would be almost impossible to keep going back and forth to Indiana to see her boyfriend. With me gone, she will have him over at my house. She knows that will never happen so long as I'm there. So, I think her next step will be to get an emergency order of protection. That will keep me away legally for 60 days. If she wants to go and lie to a judge, then that's on her. Judges don't like people exploiting the system, and it will weigh heavily in the future of the divorce. I had a great weekend. My STBX had the kids all weekend, and they spent it with her BF in Indiana. I worked Saturday night, then went out with a friend, and we had a great time. On Sunday, ran some errands and went to my sister's for dinner. I got home at 9 p.m. and they were just getting home. I said hi to the kids and then read a book with my son. He was not very talkative about his weekend, but that's okay. I made up my mind that I would not use the kids for information. If they tell, I will listen. Other than that, I will not ask questions. I give a lot of thought to my actions in the past few months. I've come to the conclusion that I am holding on too tight. Things are changing and will continue to change now and after the divorce. She this weekend spent the night with her boyfriend with the kids. This is something I was totally against. Maybe she did it a huge FU. Maybe she did it to see if I would go there and start problems. Either way, I have to start letting it all go. I don't think the kids are in any physical harm at this point. Their emotional state is really bad. That has always been my main concern. My STBX doesn't see this. She is going to do what she must to continue her fling with the My daughter is in the worst shape. She feels the need to back her mom up as her mother is filling her head with some bad things about me. My ex speaks his absolute negatives about me, and I think it's her way of dealing with it all. My kids hear all of this and decided to back their mother if my kids come to me, and that may take some time. Then I will always be there. I will talk with them daily, but if they don't want to share things about what they did with their mom, then I won't press it. Even if my ex is putting them in the middle, that doesn't mean I have to. It's time to take the high road for their sake. Of course, I worry, of course I'm scared for them, but in the end, I think my actions are making it worse on them. I am starting now will not speak with my ex about anything unless regarding the kids and their schedule. I won't bring up anything with them regarding what goes on with their mother unless they do. I can't make them feel that they are in the middle of this. They feel they are now, and that's a bad place for kids to be in at their age. Any input on my new resolution would be great. Following my new motto of leaving her alone. On Sunday night I asked her if she had anything to discuss as far as the kids are concerned. All she did was give me the finger. So, I woke up Monday morning and went to work. Then she decides she wants to talk. She called me 5 times and I didn't pick the phone up. She sent me 5 or so text messages and I didn't reply. I left work at 9 and went and had a drink and dinner with a buddy of mine. She tried to call a few times after 9 and I refused to pick up. I know what she wanted. She is off work today, so last night she wanted to leave so she could go see John and wanted to know when I would be home. Fact is, I asked her to not have the kids spend the night at her BF house. They did on Saturday night. She won't respect my wishes even though it's in the best interest of our kids. So, I spent the night at my parents' house. She couldn't go there last night as the kids have school now. I can't let her control me anymore. She's out for blood now. Last night the OM called my house phone 4 times and him and my ex talked till 1 a.m. Comcast has this cool iPhone app that tells you when the home phone rings so I know who's calling and for how long. I will go home tonight as I'm off work tomorrow and I'm sure it will be a fight. VAR will be on when I walk in. For over a month she hasn't felt the need to shelter the kids from her outbursts. She does it when even about anything she pleases. It's going to be on me from now on to walk away. She isn't and refuses to take the kids into consideration. She's in an affair fog still and that's what she's worried about, not me or the kids' mental well-being. This is the hardest thing I have even gone through. It's not about nailing her to the wall. Now it's about getting myself and the kids through this the best way I can. I just want to put her past me and then never look back. Ever. Took the day off yesterday. I woke up at 6:30 a.m. and got showered and dressed. Went upstairs. STBX was there, kids watching TV. My ex carried on in front of the kids about all the things she is doing with them. Going here, going there, etc. It was like I was a ghost. The kids did say good morning and nothing else. Ex didn't say a word to me. I think she is doing everything in her power to alienate the kids from me. The kids, I feel, are afraid to talk with me in her presence. They act different when she's not there. So, I had enough and kissed them goodbye and left. I had some things to do anyway. About 8:30 X called me 7 times. I didn't answer it. I think if she had something to say she could have that morning. I won't be there when it's convenient. I'm sticking to my guns with the ex, no contact except for maybe a 3 minutes talks about the kids' schedule for the week. Other than that, nothing. Friday is my son's 8th birthday. So tonight, I think I will celebrate it with him. We will go out for dinner. Tomorrow morning the ex will be there and I will just leave. I don't want her to have a tirade on his birthday. Took both kids out last night for my son's birthday, which is today. We really had a great time. They were laughing and joking the whole time and seemed normal. Went home and my STBX came home about 9 p.m. She went right into her act. So, I said goodbye to the kids and left. I went to my mom's and tried to relax and then went to sleep. She called me at 10:30, 11 and 11:30 p.m. I didn't answer. Her BF John called my house phone about 9 times up till about 1 a.m. My wife called early this morning and left a message this time. She said that she had to be at work at 7:30 a.m. and if I were there then she would leave and the kids would have to get on the bus by themselves. So, I headed home as that's not ever going to happen. Looking back, I should have waited for her to leave and then document her leaving them alone, but I didn't. I got home and she was there. She started writing about me being a horrible person. I just tried to smile at her, and then she left. I then tried to assess the damage. All of the pictures on the wall with me, wedding, family, were talked down. Also, on Tuesday she messed with the computer so that I couldn't access it. Last night before I left, I fixed the computer and then set up user accounts so she couldn't really access anything. It will work for basic things like web surfing and things like that, but all the programs and email are gone. I will never give her the passwords for it. My son told me she was up all night messing with the computer. I then tried to calm the kids down and we actually had a nice talk. I think they are starting to understand what's really going on. They know she's not acting as a mother and I honestly think they now realize that John is not mommy's friend but mommy's boyfriend. They understand that now. I did my best to reassure them and they drove them to school. Hey, it's my son's birthday, why not do something special? Then went to the hospital. My sister had a baby boy at 3 a.m. this morning so I went to the hospital to see the baby and congratulate them and brings gifts. I think I'm making some headway with the kids and will spend the whole weekend with them. Sunday, we have a big day planned for my son's birthday. I'm beat though, this whole thing is wearing me down. We really had a great weekend. The kids were great and they had a terrific time at my son's birthday. I think they are now realizing that what my wife is telling them is BS. They know that I'm always going to be there. They open up a little about things but never in front of each other. I know that what I tell my daughter will be repeated back to my STBX so I'm selective about the things that I share with her. But I feel pretty good that they are coming around. She was gone at John's this weekend and only called the kids once. She came home this morning at 7 a.m. and I was all ready to go and already said my goodbyes to the kids. When she walked in, I walked right out. I never said a single word to her. The NC thing is hard, but I think it's the best for my own well-being. I realize now that we don't have anything left to talk about. I might just spend the night at my parents' tonight and avoid her altogether. She called my cell about 20 minutes ago. Nope, I sure didn't pick it up. She wanted something, I'm sure. She still thinks that if she snapped her fingers that I would come crawling back. Slowly, after a period of time, she will have to realize what she has done to me and the kids. I'm truly never beyond forgiveness, but that isn't a possibility after all of the events have taken place. Throughout this whole process, I've made a bunch of mistakes. Some of them I corrected on advice from this board. I do appreciate your comments as I question what the hell I'm doing every single day. I think I'm at about 50% of the way done to the divorce, but anything can happen to make it go much further. I'm sorry to hear about your loss. I do now understand that people that haven't gone through this really don't know what to say or do. A very close friend of mine went through a divorce about 4 years ago, and I did the same to him, as most say to me. More fish in the sea and blah blah blah. That isn't really what I want to hear, and I'm sure he didn't at the time. As a matter of fact, I called him and told him that I wish I could have been there more then. But now I think I would be a pretty good resource to anyone going through this, as I understand now. Well, she called on my way to work. I didn't pick up. So, she called like 5 times in a row and I finally picked it up. She started writing on she wants her stuff on the computer. Yep, the same computer that she screwed up. I didn't like her tone or volume with me, so I hung up. She then called back another 9 times and I picked it up once again. I started this time and explained that we need to talk once a week about the kids' schedules. Period. I told her that the sec she gets out of line or is disrespectful in any way, I'm going to hang up. I also told her that will be the only topic of conversation. So, I then asked would she like to discuss the kids' schedules right now, and we did for the coming week. Then she raised her voice and started again about the computer, hung up. I guess the ground rules won't be followed by her, but that doesn't matter. She will learn to be civil or get hung up on. She called a few more times and left a few voicemail messages on the phone. The messages weren't very nice. I won't pick it up or respond. She thinks I'm acting like a child. I don't feel that way. I really need to distance myself from her. I'm not her punching bag. Kids are the topic. Everything else she can discuss with her lawyer. Kids and me going forward. She isn't my concern any longer. We have been together for a long time, married for 13 years. Making the jump from love of my life, wife, mother of my kids, growing old and retiring together, to bitter archenemy is the most difficult transition I've ever had to do. I realized that she came to grips with her decision long before I even knew we were in trouble. Maybe even 2 years ago. However, understand this, and this goes for anyone in my position. She isn't your wife anymore. She isn't even a friend. She wants to hurt you in any way she can to get the best possible outcome in the divorce. She will lie, cheat, steal, and stop at nothing to make that happen. There is no piece of information that she gets that won't be used against me. This includes the children. She has an uncanny knack of starting problems and then turning it around that the other person started it all. She has done this her whole life. Honestly, I used to believe her as a husband should always back his wife. But I realize that she is a liar. She was turn anyone she can against me. I won't stop that except with the kids. Anyone else that backs her, including my 2 cousins, I will write off for good. When the poop hits the fan, you learn really fast who your true friends are. I will remember who was there for me and who wasn't. That includes you a bit much. Your comments and help have been a blessing. Here's a great one. A few weeks ago, I changed her picture on my cell. Every time she called, I see a picture of the Wicked Witch. She probably wonders why I'm always smiling when she calls. It makes me laugh every time I see it. Last night was another banger. Kids came home at 4 p.m. We went to the store, then I took them out to dinner. Then we went food shopping as my STBX has stopped buying food. So, after all that, we came home, put things away, and started on homework. X walked in at 6:45 and ignored me. She spoke with the kids for a few minutes, then locked herself in the bedroom. The kids and I had a great evening. We played a few games and read some books together. I got them both to take baths while I made lunches for school together and tucked them in at 9 p.m. Then I retired to the basement. Then she came down and demanded the computer files. No wanting to talk to a wall anymore, I just ignored her. I called a friend for a few minutes and then she came down again while I was on the phone. She just would leave me be and sat there. So, I hung up and then told her to just leave me alone or I will sleep in the bed. I stood up like I was just upstairs, then she ran upstairs. So, I sat back down and then realized she is looking for a fight that I'm not giving her. She came back down in about 5 minutes. She then went into my bag and grabbed my iPad and ran upstairs. Okay, I'm going to squash this situation now. So, I went upstairs and took the iPad back, then went into the kids' room and told them both that she wants to fight and I would be sleeping at my dad's tonight. They understood and then went back to the basement to gather my things. She followed me, wanted to engage me into a fight, but I just ignored her and then went to my car. She followed me the whole way and then I just left. I called there this morning and spoke with the kids and they were fine. My son made a great joke that really made me laugh. He told me that it's a good thing that I wasn't there because they were eating pancakes and the syrup was on the table. I really laughed pretty hard. Today is another day. The simple and natural solution would be for me to leave and just not come back. Believe me, I've thought about it as many times after the last few months. However, as much as I want my STBX to be out of my life, I cherish the time I have there with my kids. Leaving her would mean leaving the kids, and that isn't an option. They need me to be there to guide them through this. She isn't, in my opinion, emotionally there for them. They are kids who were thrown into this mess and they need someone stable to be there. Only thing left now is to clean up the mess and get going on with my life. I'm not going to play the pity party nonsense anymore. She's done, so there is nothing left. Everything that she has done in the last few months has proved to me how she feels. Hostility, boyfriends, etc. I honestly hope she finds what it is that she wants. I know she has no clue what that is, but it really is time for me to come to grips with it, understand it, and let her go. There is nothing left, and nothing left to fix. I'm trying to forgive her and come to peace with it. It will take some time, but I will come to a good understanding and will make peace. Life is good, and I think in a few months' time it will even get better for me personally. This weekend is going to be a long one for me. Sunday, my STBX is having both kids' joint birthday parties. This is something that we did every year, and we made a huge deal about it. We would usually have about 150 people over, food, drinks, jumpy house, clown, and the whole bit. Last weekend I had a party for my son. As I now on my own, I will do parties for each of them. I will make them feel special on their own day. She isn't having the party at the house, she is having it at a roller ring not too far from the house. I told her weeks ago that she can do what she wants, but don't expect me not to be at the house on that Sunday. She threw a fit about it, but I don't care. She wants to have her boyfriend over, I think, but she can go piss off. I don't think many people will attend. None of my family even wants to see her, yet alone go to the party. They were with my son last week for his B-day. Yet still I still think that Sunday will bother me, but this is my new life. May as well get used to it now. Was a long but nice weekend. I got off work on Saturday night at 8 p.m. Then took off to meet a buddy in Michigan City, Indiana. Went out and had a great time. Went home and spent the night at my mom's. Kids weren't home anyway when I called them. They were at John's with my ex. Got up on Sunday and took care of a few things. Then hung out with my brother-in-law. Sunday was the kids' birthday party that my ex had at a roller skating rink. She wouldn't have it at the house because of my still living there. After the party then went back to Indiana and I assume spent the night at John's house. I stopped back at my house on Monday morning at 11. House was empty, but my ex's car was there. So, I assumed that after the birthday party then came back to the house and then dropped the stuff off, and then they all left in John's car. Then got home at 8:45 p.m. last night. I'm not sure if John drove them home or not. It may have been my cousin, as John most likely doesn't want to meet me. My two cousins and my aunt as well have been a supporter of my ex. It actually has caused a family rift. I was really hoping that my aunt, my mom's sister, wouldn't go to the kids' party that my ex had for them, but she did go. I'm upset by it. By my aunt showing up, meeting my ex's boyfriend. In my mind she crossed a line that I don't think I could forgive. My cousins are garden variety trash, and I don't and haven't spoken to them in a long time. My wife and my one cousin have become close throughout all of this. My cousin will give her some really bad advice. Like I have said all alone, my ex has a very uncanny way of altering the truth. I'm sure my cousins and aunt believe her nonsense. It's not like any of them called throughout all of this to ask my position. None of them have called me, not even one time. As I have said, when the poop really hits the fan you realize real fast who your friends are and who you can count on. I'm keeping score, and when it's all said and done will be done with my family who has backed my ex. I've learned a few important detail recently. My kids will not level with me in front of each other. They are afraid the other will tell my wife what they said. She must be playing them against each other. My son and I alone had a nice talk yesterday about what's going on. He said that mommy makes him tell me that when they are in Indiana they stay in a hotel. He said that they stay at John's house. He started to cry. It was like a huge weight lifted off his shoulders. So, I asked him where he sleeps when he's there. He said he and his sister sleep on the couch. Then I asked him, where does mommy sleep? He said she sleeps with John in John's bedroom. Also, John has been to my house several times in the past month. Can you imagine that while having to deal with this divorce, my children now have to deal with the fact that mommy is sleeping with John and they have to bear witness to it? Horrific. I told him a month ago to stay out of my house and that I don't want a kid to sleep at his house. Yes, he's flipping me off on both counts. I do believe 70% of it is my nut job ex putting him up to it in hopes that it will start a real conflict between the two of us. But he's still partly to blame. All of this information gives me some real insight as to why my kids are so distraught around me. They are forced to lie to their father or they will have to deal with their mother's wrath. He also told me that they had a big argument a few weeks ago. The kids told John that he was the reason why me and my ex were getting a divorce. I guess he flipped out. He told me that John has never directly yelled at him or his sister or touched them both in any way. Thank God, as that would make me take pretty direct action. I couldn't sleep just thinking about what these poor kids are dealing with because of her actions. Last night I got off early and was home for the kids to get off the bus. We had dinner and did homework and had a nice evening. The ex worked till 6:30, and when it was 8 p.m. I figured she would stay at John's. Put the kids to bed at 8:30 and I laid down at 9:15. At 12:40 a.m. I hear the garage door open. Oh boy. So I got up and locked the bedroom door. When she isn't there I don't sleep in the basement. So she came upstairs and unlocked the door. Came and turned on all the lights. I right away turned my phone on to video record. She was being really loud. The fact I was sleeping didn't really concern her. She went to the bathroom and after 10 minutes of this realized that I wasn't leaving, so she left, then slept on the couch, I think. Then at 5:30 a.m. she came in again, light doors slamming the whole bit. She said it's her room and all of her things are there, so she will shower there, and I can go duck myself. She said she can do what she wants. Then she locked the bathroom door and jumped in the shower. So I went into the bathroom, then used the toilet while she was showering. She said a few choice words which pissed me off, so I light up a cigarette right there. In 10 years, I have never smoked in the house. She looked dumbfounded. I just simply said that I also can do whatever I want. I smoked the whole thing, then flushed it, and then went back to bed. Then she got dressed and went to work. No other words spoken. Yes, we're going to play the I do what I want game now. She isn't hiding this guy to anyone, including our kids. I think she's trying to convince herself that he's the one to save her from all her misery. She thinks that if this guy is in her life, then that will mean including the kids. I have a strange feeling that in time she will find the same problems with him as she did with me. Maybe then she will realize that the problems are within herself. But maybe not. She isn't my concern anymore. It was my weekend with the kids this weekend. My son spent the day with my mom on Saturday. My daughter went with my cousin, yes, the same cousin that backed my ex to go to a theme park. My cousin's daughter was in some kind of cheerleading competition there, and my daughter really wanted to go. I don't like my cousin after all she has done, but I didn't want to punish my daughter by not letting her go as she really wanted to. So, she came home to my mom's house and we all spent Saturday night there. On Sunday we all got up and I made a nice breakfast for everyone, and we had plans to go to the zoo. We were about 5 minutes about to leave for the zoo and it was like someone turned a switch on my daughter. She was crying and carrying on for the next 3.5 hours. This is the first time she had a meltdown in front of my mother and father. We spoke with her to reassure her that it would all work out. Just like my son had a problem with my wife getting them to lie to me. In the end it was good that she let it all out and she really did feel better. After that she was fantastic the rest of the day. We got home to my house and I took them for a nice long bike ride and stopped at the park for a bit. My STBX didn't come home from John's until 7:45 this morning. She walked in and I walked out. I believe the kids were thrust into this crap, and the fact that my STBX treats like pawns in a chess game truly is horrendous. I do my best and will call to any occasion when the kids need to talk or just simply vent. Thank you for all you kind words. Every day I question my actions. I hope I will be rewarded for them by having a great relationship with my kids in the future. To my ex it's all about power and control. Matter of fact, I think her next step will be to put John and I into a situation of conflict. I don't really know if he's strong enough to think for himself or just under her spell right now. Whatever happens I will do what I have to. First order will be to ask him to leave. Second will be to call the police. I hope it never comes to the point of physical conflict. After all, I'm a 3-dag black belt and can handle most situations such as that. I'm also smart enough to know that no good would come of such a conflict. I hope he stays away. I got the proposed property settlement agreement today from my lawyer. She basically wants it all. I do know that it's a negotiation. I'm sure her lawyer is adding a bunch of things that my STBX and I have never discussed. Maybe some people just sign their things without really reading them, so they always started out that way. So now it all begins. If her first pass is indicative of how she is going about this, then this whole thing may take some time. I will go through it all very carefully, then have my lawyer draw up a new one. Yesterday, I spent 2 hours with my lawyer. We have to go through the marital agreement line by line. It was almost insane. So, we will send to her lawyer a revised version of it and then see what she does. It might take a week or 2 to hear back. I still think she is looking for a quick resolution, but others think she wants total chaos. I suppose we will find out in 2 weeks and see what she and her lawyer come up with. I thought I would be more stressed about it all, but I'm not really. My revision of it all I think was realistic and far better in her favor with the kids' best interest at heart. If she is still out of line, then I think it will be time to plan for the worse. I'm fully prepared to take things as far as they need to go, but also realize that if things go to trial, then ultimately, we will both end up with less and the lawyer will get more. Does she realize that? Yes, we're going to find out. My comment, I tried to fit the final ending in this part 3, but I guess there will be a part 4. I need to rest my wrist before the final part that's coming in the afternoon. That's why I try to keep the videos less than 30 minutes. Let me grab something to eat while I rest my arm, and I will see you in the part 4 final ending coming this afternoon.